Hey everybody, Real Kyle Talks Anime here today. I wanted to talk about how I kind of miss pre-time skip Zoro. This is kind of a Zoro video, like honestly, from a fan from like since 2004. Like I've been watching One Piece for like 21 years, and I kind of miss the pre-time skip One Piece a lot. Mostly Zoro, like as a character, where it's like I get where we are now, like I get it, but like there's that certain special feeling of I kind of miss the struggle, right? Like I feel like the characters don't struggle anymore. Now they're OP, right? Like, and I know that's kind of like the purpose of the story is that they get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and eventually they become, king of the pirates, world's greatest swordsman. Like obviously that's going to happen in the story, but like I miss when the characters struggled, and maybe it's because as a fan for 20 years now, as a fan who remembers being outcasted for talking about One Piece back in the day because the 4Kids version was so bad and it like destroyed it here in America for God knows how many years. I still feel like we're wounded from that personally. Like I feel like you're still kind of abundant of a joke. That's how bad it was back then. Most anime fans weren't even most fans of One Piece are probably really young. In fact, I've been a fan longer than probably most of the fan base now because a lot of the new fans are probably pretty new. And I mean, not I mean, it's just how it is, right? With a series as long as that. But my point is I remember looking forward to watching One Piece, and I already have another video out as I'm recording this that I'm working on. So I got two videos working at the same time right now. Just wanted to make that out there so you can watch that first and then come back to this video. But what I'm getting at is when I was struggling in school, when I was struggling at home, and life had me, I got to watch these characters overcome their stuff, which helped me overcome mine. So like, I think that's kind of what I miss is now that the characters don't struggle, I don't feel the same rush I used to get where I would forget about my day to day struggles, right? Like back then, when Zoro was fighting like Mr. One, and I remember when I first saw that, I was like a junior in high school, and I thought like it was that summer of 2011, and I had my first laptop, and I remember binging like 400 and something episodes. I can't remember. I remember it was towards the end of the Whitebeard arc. When Shanks showed up, I remember that was literally up to date. I was literally up to date at that time in the anime. I was finally up to date in the anime, right? So like seeing these characters, struggle and seeing Zoro struggle, it made me like help me escape. And now that the characters are OP, and now that I'm an old man, now that I'm like 30 something years old, like I don't feel the same way I used to feel when I'd watch One Piece. And maybe that's just getting older, and maybe some people will understand. Maybe some people won't understand, but I definitely miss the struggle. It was so hype watching, Zoro, fight and struggle, and he'd go near death, and he would almost die, and he was like trying to overcome, all these obstacles and goals, and all the characters were struggling too, and I feel like it's just kind of tragic that once you see it and you grow up with the show, and as you get older the show becomes less and less and less exciting. And maybe it's just me that feels that way. Maybe that is what it is, and I have to just accept that as an old fan. But I really miss that constant struggle that we used to get. And the first time you saw Zoro do nothing happened, I'll never forget that. It was probably like 5 in the morning. I was like on that crazy binge during the summer. That was so cool. And then you'd go to school or whatever, and you'd go to your tiny little anime club, and you talk about how cool One Piece is, and everyone would just shit on it because One Piece was like the laughing stock back then. So it was tough, being the outcast, and you couldn't really talk about it with anybody. It wasn't until I want to say like 2014 role playing became quite prevalent on the internet when it came to anime and stuff with Google Plus. So shout out to anybody that remembers that, if anyone out there even knows what I'm talking about. But the Google Plus days were fucking great. I used to have I had a lot of fun back then doing that. So shout outs to those OGs out there. But yeah, I just figured I'd make this video talking about how I really honestly just kind of miss, Zoro's character, how he used to struggle and overcome things, and I feel like that's just part of the story. It's a given, it's gonna happen with any, 1,000 plus chapter series, but I definitely miss that. I miss that a lot, and you only get it once, and we're very lucky to even have that at all, and those memories are pretty nostalgic. But honestly, dudes, like I just wish we had more of that in our shows and series. Like, I feel like that's a lost art form. Maybe I haven't watched much modern anime, but I feel like we've really, 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 really lost that, where we show a character struggle and fight. I feel like we've really lost that in most shonen action series and stuff like that. Berserk is another big one, right? So, I mean, hey, we got that one still, right? So, that one seems to always age well, and as a fan of that for almost 10 something 13 years now. Jeez, yeah, I think it's been 12 some years since I've been reading Berserk, but yeah, I definitely miss the struggle, dudes. I think that's actually why anime was so fun and help you escape, is you got to watch the characters grow and struggle as you grow and struggle yourself. And it's like, well, if he can do it, then I can do it. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of miss that. I miss that a lot. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Take care, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to the video. Peace.